The birth of a theory is like planting a seed. You plant it and then you keep on watering it with hypotheses and tests in order for it to grow and nurture. When planting a new kind of seed, you plant it in a location of chance. And this is what Charles Darwin did. But before we start describing this process, we first must define a theory.
A scientific theory is, however, a set of scientific hypotheses, all of which have been proven to have the highest probability of being true. These sets of hypotheses have strong explanatory power that elucidates natural phenomena of a wide range of issues. For a theory to be accepted amongst the scientific community, it has to go under a set of rigorous tests. One of them is the scientific checklist. A set of hypotheses in a theory need to be tested empirically, repeatable, testable, quantitative, unbiased, and reliable. To be detailed enough so they are capable of being falsified.
Charles Darwin first planted the seed of his hypothesis by chance. It all started out in 1831, where Darwin embarked to the Galapagos Islands as a natural historian. His job was every naturalist's dream. He was required to conduct observations about species on the islands.
He sat down one night and read this paper by Malthus. It discussed the principle of population, which states that societal progress with unchecked population growth will result in famine, disease, and widespread mortality. This is when it sparked, and the seed was planted. Darwin immediately related that to the concept of the struggle of existence that formulated the concept of the survival of the fittest. During that time, Darwin started observing finches. He noticed a recurring resemblance in the shape of the bills, in accordance to how the bird survived and how it was fit in some aspects. This very minimal variation in the bills made a multitude of difference. Darwin noticed that each bill was more suitable for a specific task. He also claimed that finches have a common ancestor and that they evolved through a mechanism of natural selection due to variation. Darwin then extended his hypothesis to claiming that all mammals came from a common ancestor. And then survival of the fittest came about because of variations due to mutation.
In a world that predominantly believed in creationism, there was no place for Darwin's theory of evolution. His findings weren't exactly welcomed with open arms.
Maggie!
Heated debates sparked among religious people, philosophers, and scientists, especially after the publication of Darwin's book, The Origin of Species. However, there was some support, even though that the religious figures accused Darwin of using yet another tool to distract the people from the fact that God created us. The support included Richard Owen, who said that the origins of species was the best explanation of the manner of natural selection that was ever published. This created a paradigm shift. With that paradigm shift, the theory of evolution grew exponentially. Evolution revolutionized the human thought. It suggested that we all came from a common ancestor, and that suggestion changed our perception of other species from inferior beings to equals. It all became clear. It was all a matter of who's more fit for survival and who adapts better to the selective pressures. Humankind was faced for the first time with the possibility of extinction. As I said, it was all a matter of who adapts best for the selective pressures.
This radical new thought led to people wanting to test this hypothesis, which started watering the seed. They added to it in relation to different interests. The theory started growing fast until it turned into a huge tree that would explain the origins of species. The piece of evidence that made sure the paradigm shift was completed was the Human Genome Project. The fact that apes, frogs, flies, and elephants are all related to us can now be proven. The theory of evolution is probably the theory with the most misconceptions. For centuries, uninformed people believed that Darwin suggested that humans were originally apes. This misconception could have been sparked because humans and apes have a 98% similarity in their DNA. However, that 2% difference in the genotype causes huge difference in the phenotypes. So apes, frogs, flies, and elephants are all related to Homo sapiens in the same way. None of them is closer to humans than others. We all descended from the same common ancestor. The theory of evolution is the perfect model of good science. Proper scientific methodology was carefully followed in reaching a conclusion. First, the observation of different finch beaks grabbed his attention and caused him to formulate a question. What made those beaks different, and how did that difference come about? Then he created a hypothesis stating that finches have a common ancestor, and due to mutation and selective pressures cause them to adapt and change over time, becoming fitter in their different environments. He then used methods of natural observation to collect evidence for his hypothesis. His findings of different beak shapes in different areas supported his hypothesis. Like any conclusion reached through good science, this one opened the way for new questions such as, where did that ancestor come from, and what was life like before humans were completely developed? Throughout the years, Darwin's claims were verified through geological, biological, chemical, and astrological evidence. So just to recap, a theory is born out of a small hypothesis that is usually influenced by a lot of ideas and philosophies. The hypothesis is tested and verified, but then brings up a radical new idea to the people that challenge the norm. People then incorporate and test the initial hypothesis and bring up their own ideas. This spreads, and a theory is born. The evolution of the theory of evolution started out as a small seed, which was then watered by the many experiments and hypotheses done by scientists trying to verify it or falsify it. For example, the Genome Project. They do the following by testing the basic idea of the theory in their fields of specialization. The theory spreads and grows into this massive tree of life that describes the origin and the evolution of nearly every species on Earth.
The music is all around us.